What's up, homie? How you doing? In today's video, I'm gonna share with you something really important for me and that you should know. Because this is literally the way on how I do outbound without focusing on volume. I know that volume is quite important, but not as important as you think. Probably because you don't even know how to do outbound in the first place. So right now, I'm gonna share with you how to run outbound by yourself without focusing on volume. Pretty easy, okay? So let's get straight to it. So I want you to take a look at it. Are you guys are looking at this? Let me see. Okay, there we go. So this is a LinkedIn post that I shared today. If you don't actually, you are not following me, you should, because I share a really good stuff and actually I'm being real with everyone here. So this is for you. So in this post, I'm basically telling you like that we are able to launch an outbound campaign in under 1 day because we have a system that allows us to do that. Okay, and this is the system that we use for our customers. It's called the go-to-market OS or the to advertise go-to-market OS. But in our case, we start doing outbound for ourselves one more time again. So for that reason, we deconstruct our client's go-to-market operating system, and this is what we always do if we want to launch a campaign that is likely to succeed. Okay, so here's the first thing that you should know. So number one, and this is gonna be a really quick video because you guys need to understand this. Okay, so first thing first, we research the wins, not the market. Okay, so the first thing that we do is always to look at our clients on close won deals, and this is by checking their CRM. This is by checking their deal recaps, their transcripts, the data that the founder says, the AE says, the SDR says, and everything that can relate to the close won deals. And we take in all that information and we filter out what works and what doesn't. And as a rule of thumb, it's important for all of us is the thing that happened to those buyers in the 6 to 18 months before the sign to our customers. So to make it even simpler for you, what was the specific reason why they deliver money to our client? That's it. That's the most important thing. The second thing, number one, why people actually bought your product. Really easy, right? Number two, we kill anything, like literally anything that we cannot prove from outside. And what does that mean? That we reverse engineer the data that we have. And then what we do is to actually say to our customers, hey, this is the data. We're going to try to find people that they live on the same situation that your customers were 6 to 18 months ago. So we always do the following question. If there is a public record that proves a company is living it right now, and this is important, public record, and public record is not something that is listed on a Seg Edgar file. No. Public record for me and for everyone, and this you should know, is whatever that you can find on the web that is public data. Easy. And using public data, you can infer a lot of things, but you need to prove it. That's the most important thing. So for example, is a vendor killing a product? Is a procurement RFP naming the old system that they had? Is the a job posting that gives you the situation away, or you are in need for a permit and then you failed to get that permit and that's public, so I know that you are trying to file for that permit. So there is a lot of ways that you can do this, and the most important thing is that then you rely on AI to try to deconstruct the situation and find ways to reverse engineer that back and try to find companies that are going through the same situation. And and this is important, situation is a number of things that happens at once, right? These are not signal or buying signals. A buying signal is something like, hey, I know that you look at my website or I know that you're hiring someone, right? Or I know that you are, I don't know, man, like hiring for a director of sales because um, now you have seen a clear path and a really good vertical to go for, right? So there's a lot of scenarios, but the thing is that they are not only signals, one handle signals. They are situations that are composed with multiple reasons why they are those companies in those situations, and you should look for that. Okay. Then, if no public record exists, the idea dies right there, because you cannot, if you cannot prove something, how you want to scale that? That's easy. That's the most important thing. Okay. The third the third step is that we take that data, we take the data on how we know, on how we can tell whether a company is going through X, Y, and Z situation. And then what we do is that we feed the system with the data that we have found, and what you may be thinking that you we are like saying, hey, this is context. This company is going through this, and that. No, no, no. We're feeding evidence, and the evidence is from the data that we research for, and is either links, sources, citations, pages, filings, right? And all that data compound by itself, so then we can tell whether a company is going through something. It is not context, right? It is not something, it's not like a brief. It's actually the evidence that we are providing. Okay, so for example, every proof of point has a URL, what made the big claim, what is law, who approves that. So all that stuff is a situation where we as humans decide what evidence is actually correct, because we know the market and we know what actually is a really good situation, that it has a strong proposition, and what doesn't. And also we rely on our data tools, because most of the times we pay for Prospeo, we pay for AI Arc, we pay for even Sales Navigator, and there's all those providers can tell us a lot of more data. Most of the times I wouldn't use it to be like to find firmographics. That doesn't work like that, and we don't work on firmographics, not even in buying signals. We work on situation that is composed. I'm gonna say that one more time again. That is something around. Is a number of buying signals that stack one to each other, okay, to make the situation defendable, okay. And then what we do is that the system builds the campaign and refuses what it cannot prove. So for example, if something seems off, then it doesn't work. We need to make sure that we're providing a correct value to the customer by sending our message. And second, that we actually know that these people are going through that place. And you may be thinking, okay, Sam, but this is that being said, probably you won't find a lot of companies. That's the exact point. And you can do a lot of tests. You can ship a lot of segments. I call this comes from Jordan Crawford, PQS, or to make it even simpler, a segment where you can tell they have pain, right? And based on that proposition, then you can do multiple segments, multiple tests, and see what works and what doesn't. That's it. Pretty easy. And then you get back and take all that data, and then you put that back into the system, and you start learning, and then you have that compounding effect that can push you to get more meetings, right? So, and the final thing would be that we as humans, we decide one more time the copyright that goes out. We decide what was the evidence. We decide one more time on how the campaign looks like, how the leaks looks like, and then we just push this, okay? And all this process is under one day. Most of the time we don't work on volume unless the client requests us to do that. But we always like to have campaign that actually works. And from that specific point, we are able to scale campaigns and have reply rates up to 80%. Oh my God, hopefully 80%. 80% reply rate out of 1,000 leads. And the good thing is that every people that reply actually are qualified, because indeed they are in that situation. So when you sell, you just need to explain back the situation back to them and say, hey, I've been helping all these people. They have been getting great results. Here is how we can help you. And that's it. And if you want to add more stuff, you can absolutely add a GIF, lead magnet, whatever it is that can relate to their actual situation. That way we make the system more powerful. But if those things just took time for you, the only thing that you need to do is just basically explain their situation back to them, saying, hey, I'm here to help. And here is the most important thing that you should know in your market or something like that. You'll understand, because the most important thing on the copywriting is just explaining back their situation better than they actually understand themselves, and then provide value in the message. Not necessarily needs to be a lead magnet, not necessarily needs to be a gift or something that you need to pay for it. Sometimes can be an insight, sometimes it could be explaining their marketing in better ways, and even sometimes it's just explaining their problem better than they actually understand their problem, okay, that they're facing, the situation that they have. So that's it. And you basically, how do you do that? You build system like through advertise, go to market OS. So right now we are building another segment to launch for our company. So this is something that I can actually share with all of you guys. So once I get results, I share this back to you. But you do this by building something like this. Basically, this project is what I'm stating here. That's it. And that would be it. So thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions, just let me know here in the comments or ping me on LinkedIn. And that's it. I'll be more than happy to help. And yeah, that's it. Thank you. Bye. Happy Thursday, the 20th August 2026. Bye bye.